Hi, I'm Josh Carving, and welcome to another Death Battle prediction video. But first, Sephiroth versus Virgil. That was definitely a good fight. Probably one of my favorites in terms of Torian's animations. The only thing really that was a downer about it was that it was actually incredibly short. The fight choreography was fantastic, though. I've watched it on even slow-mo for a couple times just to kind of see the finer intricacies of his fight choreography. But there was even a couple times where I actually caught a couple mistakes. They even pointed a few of them out in the Death Battle cast one time, where, for example, it was Sephiroth's feet were clipping forward and extending in weird ways for a single frame, and it's pretty funny when they pointed it out. But one of the mistakes that I actually noticed was that when Sephiroth does the final backstab, for one of the cuts, for I think a 2 or 3 second period, he's back into the bloodied up version, even though it was after he'd healed, and they go back and forth between it. So it's clearly an inconsistency, but either way, it's not a major thing. In terms of the results themselves, they came to the right conclusion, and I'm actually impressed that they kind of came up with things the way they did, using illusions to hide Supernova, and then using Yamato to actually cut out of Supernova was actually a pretty interesting thought. In fact, the forums were kind of discussing that in the last day or two of the fight. So I'm impressed that they actually kind of thought that through and thought of counters and things like that. But that said, they still lowballed the shit out of both characters, more Sephiroth than anything else. Downgrading his strength to cutting a door. There's so many better Sephiroth feats, even cutting the one cannon in half. That would come out to a higher result than that. And I don't know, they didn't really touch on any of his abilities, and one thing that they said in the Death Battle cast that I found interesting was that they did include his other forms and those abilities themselves, but they didn't include them in the animation, largely because there is no Saber Sephiroth or Bizarro Sephiroth models that would mesh well with what they had, and that's perfectly understandable. As someone who kind of dabbles in animation, I know that it can be extremely difficult to work around not having the appropriate sprites or models to work with. So that said, we then went on a break. A very short break, mind you. I thought some of the other seasons would have 4 or 5 months in between, and we had a month and a bit at worst. Barely a wait. And then on the Death Battle cast today, they announced, well, you can see it in the title, Black Panther versus Batman. Why, Batman? Why are you back again? We just saw Batman Beyond. We don't need another Batman. What are they even gonna talk about in the preview thing? At least with the first time we saw him, we got all the good information. For the second time, they kind of delved more into the Arkham games, some of the unique equipment that they gave him there, such as the explosive gel, shock gauntlets, things like that. What are they gonna add? Are they just gonna rehash on things? I just don't think we need to see Batman again. Black Panther I have no problem with. He definitely deserves a fight. And unfortunately, Batman isn't going to give him a fight. It mostly comes down to their kits. Because anything that Batman has is completely nulled by Black Panther's suit. The vibranium suit just completely kills any chance of Batman doing remotely anything. It can completely get rid of electricity. So shocking is out, explosives are out, there aren't any spaces to get in, so you can't go for joints. It absorbs impact, any blades. Honestly, nothing that Batman has can do remotely anything. Though that said, I'm unsure if I think it has a rebreather. I can almost guarantee it, because otherwise you could have the situation where Batman might be able to win with a knockout gas in the air, potentially. But other than that, almost anything he tries is just not going to work. And then that said, Black Panther goes in once with his Antarctic vibranium claws, and anything Batman tries to do to block that or anything is just completely fucked. It'll go right through him. So we were in a situation where Batman needs to land infinite hit. He can't hurt him, and the other one wins in one hit. So then you might want to look at things like if Batman can, say, tire out Black Panther. So in which case you would have to look at who actually is the better combatant. I'm not going to delve too much into feats and stats for the most part, because I know Death Battle really isn't going to. They always portray the two as basically being peak human, I can guarantee it. So I'm going to stick with that, even though both are significantly higher. So first you have intelligence. This is actually something that I know is going to come up in the fight, even though I don't think it would really play into much with the fight between these two. Batman is... he's Batman. He's one of the greatest minds in the DC universe. But at the same time, Black Panther is actually one of the greatest minds in the Marvel universe as well. He considers himself on par with, and other characters consider him on par with, the likes of characters like Mr. Fantastic and plenty of the other smart characters like Doctor Doom. To the point where he actually once created an entire branch of totally not magic physics called shadow physics, which encompasses things like quantum physics and ancient alchemy, because he decided he didn't want to use magic, and I assume he thinks that ancient alchemy is not magic. Either way, he is clearly a genius, so I would put the two on par, if anything. Yeah, I can't imagine one having too much of a leg up on the other ones, because they're both absolute geniuses, to the point where I don't think that it really plays in at all. So then you go to, say, martial arts experience. Both of them have taken on the likes of characters that really they shouldn't be able to. Black Panther is probably one of the... I think he's considered in the top 10 martial artists in the Marvel Universe, among the likes of characters like Iron Fist and Daredevil and Captain America. So again, if there is an advantage here, it's not very major. So you have two fighters who are basically on par with each other, yet one of them has things that can one-shot the other, and the other has things that make it so he cannot do anything. So really, it's completely obvious to me who would win this. Batman just has too much of an uphill battle, and all Black Panther needs to do is land a single hit and he's fine. So it'll be interesting to see the animation, because I think we did see a clip on the animator's Twitter that the background, at the very least, is 3D modeled, and they didn't show the characters in it. So it's possible that we're dealing with our first non-Torian 3D animated fight, which will be interesting. I know that in some of the DBXs we've had some decently good 3D animation, so they might be putting one of them into the spotlight as well. Or we're just dealing with sprite animation, so with a 3D background. They've done that before. Well, I will see you guys after that one, and have yourself a great day.